What's the best genre of movie? Action movies, science fiction, comedy, or drama? Nope, all those answers are wrong. The answer is horror. What makes horror films so special is that, well, they're horrifying. And unlike most other genres, are very easy to make. With dark lighting, a little bit of makeup, and a shaky camera, indie horror films like the pictured Blair Witch Project can be produced on a very low budget and be largely successful. These success stories attract many other indie movie producers towards making horror movies because they seek to have Hollywood profits with a budget equivalent to a middle schooler's allowance. While some movies become cult classics, others are just downright awful. And that's exactly what the Birdemic series is, just plain awful. This film, directed by the infamous director James Wynn, is an acquired taste. This horror film is a commentary on the state of modern cinema that holds no punches and delivers a brutal yet subtle message while keeping the viewer on the edge of their seats throughout the entire 90-minute tour de force. I'm joking, the movie's actually really, really bad. Receiving ratings of 1.9 and 2.4 from RottenTomatoes.com, you know this movie is a special hidden gem. Loosely based off Alfred Hitchcock's 1963 movie, The Birds, the Birdemic series follows a group of people trying to escape a killer bird attack. While the 1963 film, it actually looks kind of frightening. But now, if you look at it, it's kind of silly. This is frightening, but this is not. Now, why are these birds attacking, you may ask? Well, let's let the movie do the explaining.
But there is scientific evidence to show that because of our burning of fossil fuels and creating greenhouse gases, which is causing global warming, it's raising the temperature of the seas, and species like the krill are dying. So many bird species can't find food, like the nutrient krills.
Birdemic. The greatest enemy is not a killer? No. It's just CO2. The weird thing is, both of these movies think that it's necessary to repeat the same speech explaining that global warming is the cause of these bird attacks.
I think global warming might have something to do with it. All the animals, all the birds, getting sick.
Well, you know, this may be integral to the movie's plot, it just makes these movies seem more like an episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Seriously though, there are so many different things to talk about this movie. So instead of talking about them all, I'm going to give you some highlights, or rather, lowlights. The first thing about this movie are the birds. The thing that's the most important part of the movie is also the worst looking part of the movie. They look like they're out of some sort of old computer screensaver and just aren't really frightening at all. I mean, half the time when you see the actors on screen, they're not even looking at the birds because they're so just poorly animated on. It's kind of funny in a way. The one thing that this movie does have is an infatuation with using coat hangers as weapons against the birds. While eventually you see them have guns, which never seem to run out of ammo, they always begin fighting off the birds with coat hangers, which is the most logical choice of weapon. These scenes are just so ridiculous, it's kind of hard to make any jokes about them. Another thing in this movie is just the whole plot. I mean, you can tell it's ridiculous when birds are attacking Hollywood, but they also make it even more ridiculous somehow by adding in all of these non sequiturs in these scenes that just have no right being there. Here, I'll show you a few examples from Birdemic 2.
You're okay.
Will, get up!
Are you okay?
What stung you?
Something stung me.
What stung you?
A jellyfish.
A jellyfish?
Yes, a giant jumbo jellyfish.
Hurry, somebody call an ambulance. Call 911. Don't worry, miss. I'm gonna get help.
I wish Susan could have been here to see this bird skeleton, but she got a disease from that fish that Rod cooked.
Finally, even though there is much more to talk about this movie, I'm going to talk about the acting. Specifically, the main actor, this guy. Instead of just throwing off a bunch of adjectives about how bad this actor is, I'd rather just let his acting do the talking. Here's a few of his highlights from the first couple scenes of the movie.
Excuse me, miss?
Yes?
This may be a coincidence, but you remind me of someone I used to know.
Really? What a coincidence.
Keep at it, man. Trust me. Something good will come your way.
I hope so. Good for you. Let's toast to that.
Yes, to success.
To success. I'm betting on it.
You know, I don't know too much about the movie business, but I know how to read. I'm going to finance your movie, but with one condition.
What? Anything?
You have to put my girlfriend Natalie and my adopted son Tony in the film.
Sure, you got it. You are beautiful. You definitely have a supporting role in Sunset Dreams. There's a movie star beauty about you.
Come to think of it, none of the actors in this movie are very good. There are so many other things I could talk about in this movie. Of course, you know, there's the bad special effects, the bad acting, but there's one thing they do that in particular bothers me, especially in this movie, is they will consistently break the fourth wall. And the whole movie is about making movies, but when you mention the plot of the movie you're in inside the movie, something's a little wrong. I'll show you that clip right now.
I feel like I'm in a movie. In fact, my next script will be about birds attacking Hollywood.
Great idea. Hey, will you cast me in it? Yeah, me too.
I can direct it.
Sure, if you can find a producer to option my script.
My best friend Rod here, he's the executive producer of Sunset Dreams. I'm sure he'd love to take a look at your script.
Yeah, that's a great idea of turning this birds attack into a movie. You know what? It could be just as big as the Jaws franchise.
Yeah. Or maybe as big as Saw or Paranormal Activity franchise.
Unfortunately, Birdemic is nowhere near Saw, Paranormal Activity, or Jaws. It's not difficult to see that this movie is not the best produced movie out there. In fact, it's not the best written, not the best acted, just everything about this movie is lacking. But, you know, there's something special about movies like these. The thing about bad movies is that a lot of people spent a lot of time making this movie. And not once during the whole production process did any of them take a look at the movie and realize how bad the thing that they were making was. And movies like these, and by the way, Birdemic 2 was actually filmed in 3D, they take a lot of money too. So people are investing money, time, effort, and thought into this, and this is the finished product. I could say all the bad things in the world about this movie, but at the end of the day, James Wan, he had a dream. He dreamed of making a movie where birds attacked Hollywood, and he wanted it to be frightening. So he didn't listen to anybody who said that his script didn't make any sense. He didn't listen to anybody who said that his actors that he hired were just really bad. No, James Wan, he's a man of action. And he sat down one day and he said, I'm making Birdemic 1. He made that movie and it wasn't the best. He said, you know what? I'll try again. I'll try again in 3D. And then Birdemic 2 was released. And the thing is, you saw how Birdemic 2 came out. The more time I spend with this movie, though, I realized that this movie is like an onion.
Onions have layers.
Beneath the bad production value of this movie, there is a subtle message. This movie is a critique on modern horror films, saying that only the movies with huge budgets that are endorsed by Hollywood make it popular. By having over-exaggerated poor effects, bad acting, you take a step back and you think, what is it that really makes a movie frightening? In my honest opinion, though, this movie is just really bad. They didn't really mean this. I give this movie 3 thumbs.